Shalom and welcome to today's edition of Rabbi Ron in the House. As you can see, I'm dressed for college outreach. I was there this afternoon. I spent some time at the University of South Florida engaging students in conversation. While there, one of the students, a Jewish student that I met almost 2 years ago, came to visit us at the table, and he came to me and said, "Ron, I've got a question for you about Isaiah 42. I said, "All right, great. I've got my Bible, my Jewish Bible here. Let's take a look." I said, "What do you want me to look at in there?" And he said, "Start reading a little bit there and tell me what you think, and then we'll talk." And so Isaiah 42, "Behold, my servant whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delights. I've put my spirit upon him, and he'll make the right to go forth to the nations." Then a few verses down, "I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, you the servant of the Lord, and I have taken hold of your hand and kept you and set you for a covenant of the people, to open the blind eyes, bring out the prisoners of the daughters, from the prisoners from the dungeon, and them that sit in the darkness out of the prison house, to set the captives free." And he looked at me and he said, "How can a Jewish person ignore that this verse is speaking about the Messiah?" Jewish students said, "This is absolutely what it's doing. It's describing the Messiah here." And I said, "All right, let's take a look at this there. And my servant, the Lord, you're the Messiah. And I've called you. And so you'll be a covenant of the people, a light to the nations." Yeshua talked about this, a light to the nations, not just to the Jews. And to bring out prisoners from the dungeon, to open blind eyes. Yeshua talked about this. And these are the very things about Yeshua. And he says, I'm not saying I absolutely positively believe it's Yeshua, but this is definitely speaking the Messiah. I said, "You see it here, don't you?" And he said, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden, and so he acknowledged that, yes, this is describing Yeshua. But then I said, "Wait a second, I'm seeing something else. Tell me what you think." There at the beginning of the verse, he said, "I've taken you, and I've kept you, and set you for a covenant of the people." It doesn't say, "I've called you to make a covenant with the people." A covenant would have two parties, whether individuals or groups. God didn't say, "I'm going to take you, servant Messiah, and you will make a covenant with the people." He says, I've set you for a covenant. And I said, "Am I reading something here wrong?" It says, "I'm making you for a covenant." Is it saying I'm making you to be the covenant? To be a covenant? A covenant is berit, is literally a berit, the different form there is cutting the covenant. An animal would be cut in two. It would be killed. It would be sacrificed. Its blood would be shed so that the parties would walk through the blood. I'm setting you to be a covenant. A covenant is that which is cut and his blood is being shed. Is God saying, "Messiah, you will actually not just make a covenant with the people, you will be the covenant. That which is cut and its blood will be shed for the people of the world." And so I want to ask you, his eyes open wide as can be. He said, "That's not what I was thinking, but..." And so I want to ask you, what do you think about this in Isaiah 42? Am I missing something? Am I onto something? I'm thinking this is saying you will be the covenant. You will be that which is cut and blood which is shed for the world. And so please dig into Isaiah 42. Give it a little bit of thought. Write me a comment. Tell me what you think, because I'm thinking this is something really interesting that I've not been told before. And I think it really points to Yeshua and what he did for you and for me. He is our covenant, that which was sacrificed and whose blood was shed. Write this down. Think about it and give me a note. Tell me what you think about Isaiah 42. Thanks for joining me. This has been Rabbi Ron in the House.